Let's talk about gas prices and some ways that we can save money on gas. I woke up this morning and I heard that gas prices are at an all-time historic high in the United States, and it is really putting a strain on a lot of people, including myself. So really the best thing we can do is talk about ways that we can save money on gas. So let's do that. So I have a whole bunch of tips that I have found that help me save money on gas personally, and then other tips that I have read about that I just thought that I would pass along to you, and tips that I'm going to try and implement moving forward. So I'm going to start off with some really easy things and then kind of move into some more extreme ways to save gas. The very first one is obviously try not to drive as much as possible. Just drive less. And there's lots of ways that you can drive less. The first one is to plan your trips strategically. So don't just leave the house to go to the store and then come back. Don't just run one errand at a time. Plan to run multiple errands in a strategic way that is going to minimize the mileage that you're having to drive. You can also carpool. So if you have family or friends that maybe need to go to the same place as you and it makes sense mileage wise, try and ride together and do a lot more ride shares, and all of you guys can save money. You guys can split the cost of gas or take turns or whatever it is you want to do, but try and carpool as much as possible. You can check out Google Maps. They have a new feature on Google Maps when you're planning a trip, and it will give you the most fuel efficient route to take. So sometimes driving on the highway is going to save you gas versus driving in the city. And Google Maps won't just give you the fastest route now, but the most fuel efficient. So maybe it'll take you a couple minutes longer to get somewhere, but you'll save a little bit of money on gas. So if you haven't checked out that feature on Google Maps, it's really cool and you should check it out. It is also cheaper to fill up your car at the beginning of the week, so like on Monday or Tuesday, than to wait and fill up on the weekends. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are historically the most expensive time to buy gas, and like Monday and Tuesday are historically the cheapest times to buy gas. So if you need to fill up your gas tank, do so at the beginning of the week and not on the weekend. There's also apps that you can download that will help you find the cheapest gas in your area or along your route if you are traveling. Gas Buddy is probably the most popular one, and that way you can find the least expensive gas. The next is to try and walk and bike or find some other mode of transportation besides your car. This isn't just good for financial reasons, but it'll also be good for your health. So if you live in an area where you can walk or bike places, try and do that as much as possible. You can encourage your kids to get around this way too. Maybe they want a skateboard or a bike or something like that. Purchasing those things, even if it's a little bit of an upfront cost, might make sense in the long run. The next set of things that you can do is to keep your car maintained. Maintaining your car is going to make it run more efficiently, and that is going to mean savings. But one thing is make sure that your tire pressure is right for your car. Underinflated tires have actually been shown to cost an extra 2 cents per gallon. You can also, on your vehicle, lighten your load. So don't drive with really heavy things in your car. Make your car as light as possible. If you have a roof rack or any other extra things on your car that's going to decrease the aerodynamics of the vehicle, those are going to slow you down. When you are driving, use cruise control whenever possible. So if you're on the highway, go ahead and put on cruise control. Also be more conscious of how you are accelerating and braking. Real fast acceleration and real fast braking, and doing that back and forth is going to cost you more money. So try and coast as much as possible. And every time you're putting your foot on that gas pedal, you are using gas. Also, use your air conditioning as little as possible. So if you can, roll your windows down. Don't let your car idle. If you are stopped in a parking lot, don't sit there with your car running. Turn it off. Choosing lower traffic times to go run your errands or to get out of the house whenever possible. When you're stuck in traffic, you're sitting there, your car is idling, you're braking and accelerating more, and that is going to cost you money. So if you need to leave the house, try and do it in a time that is not going to be very busy. If you are planning on going on vacation, it might be significantly cheaper to fly instead of drive. Flying can be super cheap, especially if you look at certain airlines like Allegiant or Frontier, Spirit. They all have very cheap flights. I know a lot of times for us, if we go on vacation, it is significantly cheaper and faster and easier just to fly to our destination than it is to drive. Also, along the lines of vacation is if you don't have a fuel efficient car, it can actually be cheaper to get a car rental that is fuel efficient if you're going on a longer trip. Because the car that we have is not fuel efficient at all, when we go on longer road trips and aren't flying, we actually end up renting a car because it saves us money. Now let's talk about some slightly more extreme options that will save a lot of money on gas. The first one is to work from home. So commuting to and from work is costing you a lot of money. Maybe even finding a job that's closer to home. Play with the numbers, look at the math, and find out exactly how much it is costing you, both in time and money, to drive to and from work. If your job is something that you definitely want to keep, talk to your boss about a raise and let them know how much money it's costing you. It's not going to hurt to ask. You could also purchase a more fuel efficient car. This is something that we are seriously considering. We kind of need a new car anyway. Our car's old and has over 200,000 miles on it. It is a Nissan Xterra, so it's an SUV, and it is a gas guzzler. We only get about 15 miles per gallon in the city, so getting a new vehicle is something that really might save us a lot of money. Getting a car with better gas mileage or even an electric car is very tempting right now. Play around with the numbers and see if it is really worth the extra money. Another thing to consider is where you live. If you live in an area where you are having to drive really far to do anything, or in an area that has a really low walkability score, then you are going to be more dependent on gas. That is something that we actually took into consideration when we moved from Tennessee to Florida. Is we wanted to be in an area with a high walkability score so that we weren't so dependent on our vehicles and gas. We are able to ride our bikes or walk just about anywhere that we need. If we didn't have a vehicle, or if we didn't have enough money for gas for whatever reason, then we could get everything that we need because of the area that we live in. You also might want to consider moving closer to your work. But all of these things, especially if the gas prices keep going up, are things that we should all consider. So let me know what gas prices are looking like where you are, if it's affecting you personally at all yet, and how you feel about what gas prices are going to be doing in the future. Are you worried or concerned at all? For us personally, our gas bill, even just last month, went up a whole lot, and this month we are really rationing where we are driving, and gas prices have actually limited the places that we are willing to go. So it is having an effect on us. Yesterday, gas prices were $3.98 a gallon, and then this morning when we went out, they were $4.19. We are in a coastal town in Florida, and I know that they are cheaper some places and a lot more expensive in certain areas. I think we're kind of like in the middle of where gas prices are. Yeah, it's rough right now. So let me know your thoughts and feelings on it. And I hope this list has been helpful. I know that I was previously doing a lot of these things, but some of these things I have researched and are new to me, and I'm going to start implementing in my routine. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.